might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. Sounds like PE when I went to school as well, Keiichi. Doesn't sound like anything changes, really. Hey there, guys! My name is Nix, and welcome back to Higurashi, When They Cry, Chapter 2, Watanagashi. You know, the festival's been surprisingly absent so far, but then again, it took us a while to get there in Chapter 1. By the by, last time, we had a baking incident. Baking's the wrong word. Cooking's probably more accurate, but, yeah, calling it an incident might be an understatement. I'll never forgive Satoko. Both for ruining my food and for ruining Reina's food, which I then decided to eat. Yeah, it didn't end well. Anyway, I need to flash back to myself because he's got some tips for you. And by you, I mean me. This is a jank-ass segue, but I'll roll with it. So yeah, it turns out today I only have the one tip to read for you. But given the number of pages there are, and the fact that there's... How many achievements? Hold on. This may look hideous. Oh, thank God you can't see my Steam overlay. Never mind, I can't see it either because I record these in offline mode so I don't get notifications. But yeah, given the fact that I think there's like 7 achievements, which is like end of chapters within a chap, it doesn't matter. Food is good.
Oi, Mion. これ.
Hey, Mion. Here.
What?
What is it, Kei-chan? I thrust the bento box she'd given me yesterday at her face. That wasn't her. I know we're still playing coy about the whole thing now that I think about it, but... yeah.
昨日差し入れてもらった弁当箱だよ。
It's the bento box you gave me yesterday. Thanks.
うまかったぜ。
It was delicious. I never thought I'd hear Mion make that noise. All I'm used to is hearing Reina make it. It's actually kind of adorable. Mion's face quickly flushed bright red. Hey now, you were the one pretending to be Shion when you gave it to me. I'm gonna give it away if you're all red like that when you're being Mion. At this rate, she might trip and fall right into her own grave, so I decided to help her out.
あのな、俺。
Listen,
昨日腹
I
を
was
使ってて
I was pretty hungry yesterday.
シオンがわざわざうち
Out of the
まで
blue, Shion came all the way to my house and
Bento.
gave me some food in a bento box.
で、これは
This is that box.
ちゃんと洗って
I made sure to wash it clean. Right. Shion's really considerate, huh? You cannot get this story about whether Shion is like considerate or a bitch down, can you? Although she seems nice. You seemed nice at first, though. So you know how it be. That was so transparent. Was Mion always this terrible at lying? Her expression was different than usual, but it looked strangely cute. So, what did you think?
ミオンにウリ二つなやつだと思うぞ。
You two were like peas in a pod. You're twins, right?
似てて当然だよ。
Obviously, you'd look the same. I don't think that she was asking. What's. Try that sentence again. I don't think that's what she was asking about, Keiichi.
じゃなくて、
Not that. Mion looked kind of bewildered, like she was waiting for a specific answer. When she said impression, maybe she didn't mean Shion, but the bento?
ああ、もちろん。
Oh,
うまかったぜ。
of course. It was delicious.
本当に
Really?
俺は食い物の感想には
I never lie about liking food.
俺がうまかっ
If
た
I
って言
say
ったら
something's good, then it's objectively good.
万人におすすめできる
You
評価
can
だと
feel
思っていい
free to give my recommendations to every single person you meet.
シオンに
Tell Shion it was seriously great, alright? Okay, tell Shion, right?
伝えて
I
お
will.
くよ。きっと喜ぶと思う
I
よ。
think she'll be happy. Oh, God. I mean... I've said my due piece about several times while trying to record this playthrough. I'm not convinced that they aren't separate people. Let me put it another way because that might have been a confusing sentence. I am convinced that they are separate people. It's just which one of them wants to actually kill me. We're going along with Shion having given it to me, not Mion, aren't we? Yet her laugh. It came from deep down and sounded really happy. I guess she really can laugh nicely enough that just looking at her makes me feel better too. A sarcastic remark makes its way onto my tongue, but I swallow it back. As Mion went to put the bento box into a bag, she noticed a clattering noise.
ケイちゃん、なんか入ってるよ。
Kei-chan, there's something inside. Huh? Wow.
Ah, she opened it. The thing inside was a little embarrassing, so I wish she hadn't opened it here. Panicking, I hid it with my hands. Well,
これはだな。うちの
this
夫
is...
がお礼に入れとけ
Well,
って言ったんだ。
my mother told me to put them in as thanks.
別に俺のセンスじゃ
I
ないん
didn't
だか
come
ら
up with
な。
it or anything.
誤解すんなよ。
Don't get the wrong idea. Now we're being tsundere.
綺麗。
It's so pretty.
飴だ。
Candy.
There was a handful of candies neatly wrapped in paper inside a sparkly clean bento box. When I was cleaning the box out yesterday in the sink, Mom came over and interrogated me, and I fessed up as to who had given me the food. And she told me that something like this called for a display of gratitude. I didn't want to because it was embarrassing, so I argued that it wouldn't be like me to do that.
というわけなんだ。
Well,
まあ、
that's what happened. I mean, I was so embarrassed. It felt like I might shoot at... I was so embarrassed it felt like fire might shoot out of my face. Mion laughing the whole thing off like she usually did would be fine, but for some reason she was staring at the candy in the box with fascination.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
俺に言うな。
Don't thank me, thank my mom. She put them there.
それに
Besides, you're not the one I need to be thanking, right, Mion?
それは
Those are for
シオンにあげるものなんだからな。
Shion, okay?
Right.
そうだ
You're
よ
right.
ね。うん。
Okay.
シオンに伝え
I'll
て
be
お
sure
く
to
ね。
tell Shion.
きっとシオンも嬉しい
I just know she'll be happy.
Mion, looking a little downtrodden, put the lid back in the box. Seemed like I ended up saying something a little mean at the end.
今日はなんだかみーちゃん、ほんわかな感じ
You
だ
look
ね。
so cozy
いい
today.
ことでもあった
Did
のか
something
な。
happen?
かな。
Did it?
風邪でもひいたんではありま
Perhaps
せ
she's
ん
caught
の
a fever.
お顔が赤い
The
の
red
は
in her face is probably due to increased body temperature.
ってリカ
Hey, Rika!
私の頭
Why
を
are you
撫で
petting
ま
my
すよ
head?
さとこもきっとそのうち
Radical,
お
I'm
風
sure
邪を
you'll be
ひけ
able
る
to
よう
catch
になり
fever
ます
soon
ですよ。
enough.
I mean, we were hoping to get past the whole catching an illness thing, but, you know, I'm doing my best. I've had my first jab. Pet. You'll understand when you're older, Satoko. Probably. I hope so. Anyway, back to me in the future with whatever the hell's actually going on, because I genuinely can't remember. It's been a while, and I apologize for that fact. Well, things happen in life. Yeah, as me in the past was trying to say that just some things in life happened. I'm hoping that I can actually get back to recording some more videos more often. It's just hard when I look at my calendar and I'm like, yes, what nights am I free this week to do some recording? Oh, good. Potentially none of them. Things are busy, but we fit these in when we can. Anyway, yes. Exercise and disorder. Sounds like my life. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. Hell yeah. I take it back. I actually had to do things in PE. This is the kind of PE that I want.
よくは知らないけど、教育委
I'm
員会
not
とか
really
に
sure, but
教育
doesn't the
指
Board
導
of
要項
Education
があ
have
る
some sort of curriculum for this?
何歳なら これくらいの運動
Something
能
like
力はなけ
when
れ
you're
ばいけない
this old, you
みたいなさ
should have this amount of physical ability. Don't judge me, Keiichi. I know I'm not very strong and don't have a lot of stamina. I make up for it with using my brain, like 5% of the time.
ケイイチさんが何を言ってるのか
I have no idea what you're saying, Keiichi-san. It's rather difficult to understand.
えっとね
Well, you see,
先生の
it's
授
something like a
業
rule
の
for
進め
teachers
方
to
の
follow
ルール
during
みたいなもの
class.
That is not the laugh I was expecting, Mion, but we'll roll with it.
都会の軟弱な連中には
Maybe
そう
you
いうのは
weakling
必要
city
だろう
folk
けど
need
さ
something like that.
田舎育ちのうちらが身
Do
体
you
能
really
力
think
で
us
劣ると
country
思う
raised kids would lag behind in physical activity?
僕たちはケイイチが思ってるよりも運動神経はいいのです
I'd believe that. I've seen some things. Oh god. Yeah, let's pretend that didn't happen because it hasn't yet technically. Come to think of it, they might be right. We all lined up for a race. There's a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity.
ではそういうことで俺はテレビの
On
見
that
過ぎで
note, I watch too much television, so I'm fantastically tired.
睡眠時間の補給を
I'll be
させ
using
て
this
もら
time
う
to
ぜ
catch up on my sleep.
空腹絶頂の
It's
4
fourth
次元
period, and I'm completely starved.
今寝ずにいつ寝
If
る
I
よ
don't sleep now, when will I ever? As I began to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar.
ちっちっち
I don't know how to make that sound because I'm pretty sure the filter on my mic is designed to not pick up those noises.
まさかおとなしく眠
Do
らせ
you
てもらえ
really
る
think
と
I'd
思っ
let
て
you
る
sleep in peace and quiet?
その顔で言われたら
With that look on your face, it'd require more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief. Which means it's going to start again.
さて
Now!
このまま井戸端会
Just
議
give
で
it time with the idle chit chat until the bell rings is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it?
部活タイム
Shall we start a club activity?
If we fucking must.
チェ案の定来やがったな
As I thought, it's come to this.
今日のゲームは何
What's
だ
today's game? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, but this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear.
レナはそれより今日の罰ゲームは
I
何
really
か
think that we should
な
decide
だと思う
what today's
な
penalty game should be before we start.
レナは分かってる
Rita knows what's up.
今日も
I prepared something super special today.
She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that,
ごめんなさいです
I'm sorry.
僕はちょっとや
I
り
have
たい
something
こと
that
が
I
あり
wanted
ま
to
すで
do.
す
of all the people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Mion spun like a top as she's tumbled to the ground.
あれれれれれれれ
What?
れ何どうしたの
What's the matter?
今日は調子悪い
You're
の
not feeling well?
あそうか
Oh, that's right.
みーちゃん綿流しの練
She
習
has
だ
to practice for the Watanagashi.
そうですわよ
That's right.
今度の日曜
It's
日
this
です
Sunday.
Oh, well, I'd mentioned it was suspiciously absent, and here we are.
リカは猛特訓中なの
Rika's
です
in the middle of super serious training right now.
最近は頑張りすぎて
I've been
お腕
working
が
too
痛い
hard
のです
lately, so my arms hurt.
そっか
I see.
じゃあ仕方ないな
Well, there's nothing that can be done.
全員揃わないなら
There's
仕
no
方
point
な
in
い
doing anything if we can't get everybody together.
今日は各人のんびりしようか
Today,
な
let's just take it easy.
ごめんなさいなのです
I'm very sorry,
でも
but
頑
I'll
張
try
り
my
ますですよ
best. Yeah, good luck.
レナたちも
I'll
応
be
援して
cheering
る
you
から
on.
ね
When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Sadako headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about.
一体何なんだ？
The hell was that about?
リカちゃんは
Rika-chan training for a competition or something?
してるのか？
リカちゃんは渡辺
Rika-chan is a shrine maiden for the Watanagashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance.
その練習
It's
な
practice for that.
Can you call attacking a mattress with a hoe? Oh, never mind. Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, where the fuck is my voice gone? Second of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? And last, what do you mean by ritual dance?
あれ
Huh?
ケイちゃん家には
Did you get the notice at your house, Kei-chan?
書いてなかった
Wasn't it written there?
今度の日曜
The
に
Watanagashi
渡辺
festival
の
is
お祭
this
りがあるって
Sunday.
Huh? Come to think of it, I had a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. I think this is just a thing with the mod. I might have to rerun some updates and stuff to see if, sometimes the voice acting works, sometimes it doesn't, but hey-ho, we're all here.
The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on Sunday every June. It's very lively.
I see. But Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Something like Lantern Festival, where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down a river?
さすがはケイ
Oh,
ち
I
ゃん
figured you might guess right, Kei-chan.
渡流はね
Watanagashi, or Cotton Drift Festival, is, as the name implies, when we set cotton adrift down the river.
Mion's lines are here? Where the fuck are mine and Raina's? I mean, I know this is her chapter, technically, given by the front cover. Might be Shion's now that I think about it, but we don't talk about that.
The cotton you see is from futons or jackets. So it'd be something like a futon memorial.
祭壇にもお布団を積み上げているし
What the fuck was my first line? They also pile futons up at the altar.
I've heard of people leaving offerings like things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or casualties of war. But an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively.
言われなんてほど難しいのは
I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it.
Bullshit! Bullshit, there isn't!
この辺って冬の寒さは
Winters around
厳しい
here
か
are
ら
pretty
ね
harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess.
ああ、なるほどな。
I see.
つまり
In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter then. Leaving it till June's a bit late. I mean, if this were the UK, I'd understand. It's only just turned to June and I've seen the sun for the first time in what feels like 6 months.
で、巫女さんが供養をして最後に川に流すわけか。
And the Shrine Maiden holds a memorial service for them and sets them adrift.
それが渡流しってわけ。
That's what the Watanagashi is. Mion and Rainer indicated that I had the correct idea with a round of applause.
でねでね
And you see,
その供養をする
the
巫女
shrine
さんの
maiden
役
performing
が
the memorial is Rika-chan.
へえ、
Oh,
リカちゃんが巫女なんだ。
so Rika-chan's a Shrine Maiden.
言われてみればリカ
Now
ちゃん
that you
って
mention it, Rika-chan does have a mystical air about her. She doesn't have the, you know, the certain characteristics of my favorite Shrine Maiden. Shrine Boy. Okay, shut up.
だよね
Right? Right?
リカちゃんの巫女さん姿
Rika-chan in
って
a
ね
shrine maiden outfit.
かわいいんだよ
So cute!
Certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute.
ようやく話が見えてきたぞ。
I'm finally getting what you're saying.
リカちゃんの言うと
Rika-chan's training for her performance as a Shrine Maiden then.
そういうこと
That'd be it.
巫女さんが
Shrine maiden has to purify a number of
一連の
futons
セ
as
レモ
part
ニ
of the
ーを奉
ceremony.
納演舞って呼ぶんだけどねそれの練習なんだ
It's
よ
practice for that.
I want to know how you purify a futon. Because I'm always confused about Japanese futons because I used to have one and it was basically like a fold-out bed But I don't think that's what the Japanese ones are, because they're more like better sleeping bags from what I've seen. Or maybe some of them are like fold-out beds, and some of them are just like good sleeping bags. Maybe you just pay for quality.
結構大変なんだな。
It's a lot of hard work.
巫女さんはね、
The shrine maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as part of the rite.
それがね、
Sorry,
リ
I'm
カ
like
ちゃんにはすっごく
I'm like 12 years
重いらしい
old.
の
That's a funny sentence.
But it's really heavy for Rika-chan.
リカちゃんってちっちゃいもんな。
Oh, that's a terrible joke. It's like has to carry a memorial hoe to go with her. That's why Satoko went with her. No, that's a terrible joke. I shouldn't make that, but I did anyway. And now you can all tell me I'm not funny in the comments. Well, Rika-chan is pretty small.
その重いクワって。
Exactly how heavy is that hoe? I'm still 12 years old though.
かなり重いらしいよ。
It's pretty heavy.
リカちゃんは餅つき用の木
Enough
で
that
練習してる
Rika-chan's
く
been
らいだか
practicing
ら
with the mochi mallet.
Wait a minute. It's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan. That'd be rough even for me.
祭事用の神聖なクワだか
It's
ら
a
ね。
sacred ceremonial hoe.
間違って落としちゃったら
If she
大
dropped
変
it
ら
by
しいし。
accident, it'd be big trouble.
まあ、年に
Well,
一
it's
度
a
のお
once
勤
in a
め
year
だから
kind
ね
of deal.
私たちは陰なが
All
ら
we can
応
do
援
is
する
cheer
しか
from
な
the
いね。
sidelines.
大丈夫。
It'll be okay.
去年もちゃ
You
ん
pulled
と
it
やり
off
遂げたんだ
last year.
そっか。
Really?
じゃあさ、せめて
Then at
応援
least
して
I
やろう
can
ぜ
do is cheer her on.
それくらいならいいだろ
Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed and shook her head.
ほっといてあげなよ。
Leave her alone.
ケイちゃんが来たら、
There you go.
リカちゃんが
Rika-chan
可
will
愛
get
く
a
なっ
little
ちゃう
cute and won't be able to
特訓ができなくなる
practice.
よ。
Huh? I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying.
リカちゃんはね、
You
努
see,
力とかそういう
Rika-chan
のを
doesn't like
人
showing
に見
people
せる
how
のが好
hard
き
she
じゃないの。
works.
ね、
Okay?
そっとしておいて
So
あげて。
just leave her be.
Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times where she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungrainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling.
俺にできるのは成功を
All
祈
I
る
can
こと
do
だ
is
け
pray
って
for her
ことか
success, huh?
頑張れ
Do your best!
フルでリカ
Furude? Is that how you pronounce that surname? I think I pronounced it before, but yeah, whatever. Do your best, Rika Furude!
応援してるから
I'm cheering for you! Well then. I climbed on top of the pipe and plopped down on my side. It's nap time.
フレーリカちゃんさらに応援の電波を高めるため
In order to transmit more of my psychic waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. Damn, he fell asleep quick.
結局寝るわけか。
So you're just gonna sleep after all?
I could do without the abuse, Mion. But yes, I am going to sleep. Just like in real life. The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition.
さすがに食いすぎた
I might have gorged myself a bit too much.
午後の授業は
I'll
答える
have to endure afternoon classes. Don't laugh at my suffering! Not yet, anyway. You do that later.
ケイチくん、今日はなんだかすごい食欲だったもんね。
基本的にいつも大食いだけどさ、
Basically, you always eat like a pig.
今日はなんか
But
格
today
別
was
だった
on a
ね。
whole different level.
昨日は俺昼飯抜きだった
Yesterday I
よ
skipped lunch, right?
その日文字差が
That
染みつ
hunger
いちゃっ
just
て
soaked
さ
right in.
今度は逆に
This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds.
わかるよわかるよ。
I get you, I get you.
しかしケイちゃんってさ、
Really, Kei-chan,
いつもお弁
you
当
always
き
finish
れい
your
に食べる
lunch
よ
down
ね
to。the last bite.
ご飯一粒も残
Heck,
さ
even
ない
down to the last grain of rice.
食べ物ってのは作ってくれた
With
人
food,
に
you
感
show
謝して
your
食べるもんだぜ
appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know?
残したら
If
苦
you
労し
leave
て
any
作ってく
behind,
れた
it's
人
rude
に
to the
失礼だ
person
ろ
who put in all that effort. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh.
ケイちゃんってさ、
Kei-chan, really.
ぱっと見ワイルドで
At
いい加
first
減
glance,
そう
you
なんだ
seem
けど
ruly and irresponsible.
結構リッチだよ
Irresponsible.
ね。
But you're actually pretty conscientious.
しつけがいいというか。
Well disciplined, or something like that.
あ、うん。
Oh,
それ
yeah.
はレナも思う
Yeah, I
な。
think so too. Think so too.
ケイチくんって
Keiichikun's
見
a
か
lot
けよりずっ
kinder
と
than
優
he
しい
looks.
人だよ。
Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all.
そんなことないって。
That's not true.
見かけと中身
I
は
just
大
wanted to say
違い。
that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality.
それが褒めてね
And I'm saying that's not a compliment!
こら、
Hey,
園崎さん、前原君
Nozaki-san.
授業
My
中ですよ。
Barakun, we're in the middle of class.
園崎さんはどこまで進み
How
ま
far
す
did you
か？
get, Sonozaki-san?
ノートを持ってきて
Bring
くだ
over your
さい。
notes up here.
Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she'd stopped working completely.
まあ、 そこそこに。
Doing all right.
さっきから全然
You haven't
進んでないじゃないです
progressed at
か
all.。
最上級生なんだから。
We're on the highest grade, so you have to
もっとしっかりしない
shape
とい
up.
けませんよ。
That Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard.
人は見かけによらないっていうこと
Appearances
だ
can
ね
be。deceiving, in other words.
むしろ見かけとは逆がなことかもしれないよ。
Appearance might be the opposite of reality.
うん面白いことは言うじゃないか
You say some interesting things. Yeah, they come from the heart. I know, I've seen. This appearance, it's bullshit. Look at that cute face. That nice, happy, smiling demeanor. Real different when she's laughing after you with a hatchet. I sound like I'm suffering a fucking like war flashback. Wasn't that bad. It's not like Steins Gate levels of trauma yet, but we're getting there. Responding to Reina's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily studying together with Rika-chan.
あの生意気盛りのサトコも実は見かけ
Are
と
you
は
saying
逆
that
に
brat Satoko is actually really meek? If I went by what Reina literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale.
最近はあんな感じだけど、ちょっと前までは違ったんだよ。
I don't know I don't know what she's like in the other one. Whose name I forget. It's like Umineko? Is that its name? I don't know. I just know that she's in it. Or at least I think. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I haven't read it. I just know it exists.
Satoko-chan's been rude lately, but a while ago she was pretty different.
すごい甘えん坊で、い
She
つ
acted really spoiled and always... Yep.
もさとこちゃんには内緒ね
Keep。this a secret from Satoko-chan, okay?
あのサトコが
That's Satoko? Acting so cute? For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have been to be some part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. Since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and... How the fuck do you pronounce that word? You put like Q's in a word and I'm lost. Give me a second, I need to go to Google. Coquettish? I dislike that description that you've given me, dictionary.com, for coquettish. Behaving in such a way as it has a playful sexual attraction. Then it just says flirtatious next to it as a second one. You could have led with that one. Still don't like it, but you know. Probably because she looks about 12. That's probably why I don't like it. Yeah, anyway. I don't want to try and imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko, but Keiichi can anyway.
おいサトコ
Why did it sound like I fucking transcended the void in order to be here? Anyway, where am I? Hey, Satoko!
なんですのお兄様。
Hate that! Fucking hate that with a vengeance!
What is it, Oni-sama?
The voice doesn't work. It only works because she's a bitch. Satoko smiling cutely and walked toward me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason I took 3 steps away. Yeah, I'd do that.
お兄様、なんで
Lisa,
逃げ
why
ま
are
す
you
の
running away?
すまん、サトコ。
Sorry, Satoko.
お前が愛想笑いして近づいてくると、
For you to approach me with an
何かの罠のよう
affectionate
な気が
smile
する
on
ん
your
だよ。
face, I just have to think it's some sort of trap.
ひどいで
That's
す
so
わ
mean.
お兄様の
Lisa, you meanie.
See, now I think she does this for attention. Not like she just used to be like this. It's terrifying.
ごめん。
あ
別に
sorry.
悪気があったわけじゃないんだ。
I didn't intend to be so mean. The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Did she pull a gun? Is that what that is? Huh? Oh, no, never mind. It's only a bear trap. My leg was being clapped down on by jagged metal teeth. There we go. There's the hatred that I've known to grow and coexist with.
かかりました
You
わね
fell for it.
続けていき
Now
ま
for
すわ
the
よ
next part.
Satoko raised her arm triumphantly as traps begin to trigger one after another. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine. Damn, she stole that from France, I'm assuming. We haven't used those in years.
よくわかんないけどケイチ君今すっごく突拍子もない想像してなかっ
You're
た
not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you?
いや、別に。
Not really.
全然してないぞ。
Not at all. Yeah, it seems perfectly like something she would actually do.
嘘だ
That's a lie.
トゲ付き鉄球に
Not the
飛ば
kind
さ
of look on your face that says, I'm gonna be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball.
How can my expression convey what I was thinking like that?
すまん。
Sorry.
塩らしいサトコの想像ってのは、
Imagining a meek and gentle
Kanari
Satoko is impossible right now.
今度体調がいい時に。
I'll try
再
again
ト
when
ライ
I'm
して
in
みる
better shape. Next, I looked over at Rika-chan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika-chan came at me saying Oni-sama, I'd hug her. Tightly. I could get used to that.
ケイチ君よだれ
Keiji-kun, you're drooling.
あ、ご
Ah,
めん。
sorry.
じゃあ、リカちゃんはどうだよ。
Then how about Rika-chan?
あれも味
Are
覚
you
に
saying
乗
that
ら
her
ないってこと
appearance is deceiving as well? I mean, she can carry that hoe, and she manipulates people like there's no tomorrow. With her cutesiness, let's be real. Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Is Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly, how do you put it? Evading things deftly.
確かにリカちゃんは
I get the feeling that Rika-chan isn't only just sweet.
確かに見かけによら
Her
ないぞ。
appearance is definitely deceiving. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Reina managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, you shouldn't say something like that.
リカちゃんはきっと大きくなったらねすっごい美
When
人になっ
Rika-chan
て
grows up,
男の
I'm
人
sure
を
she'll
振
be
り
an
回す
incoming
悪
incredibly
魔のような
devilish
女性
beauty
に
with
なるんじゃ
men
ないか
wrapped
な
all
って
around
思
her
うんだ
little finger.
そういうの
Don't you think
か
that
っ
would
こ
be
よく
cool?
ない
Reina said that lightheartedly, but I as a man couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Riki-chan turned toward me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Reina and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat.
So cute! So cute!
One of these days I'm gonna blow your eardrums out with one of those, so just be prepared.
レナ、鼻血鼻血。
Reina, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader, Mion? I stared back at her as she tried to weasel her way out of being scolded by the teacher. By Reina's theory, the unrefined, calculating, and conniving Mion had also had a side of her that belied appearances.
じゃあなんだよ。あのミオンも見かけによらず。
Then what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person?
みーちゃんはいい人だよ。
Chan is a good person.
あ、まあ、
Oh
そりゃそう
well,
だけどさ。
that is true.
そういう意味じゃなくて。
But what I'm trying to say is,
ケイチくんの言いたい意
I
味。
know what you're trying to say,
わ
Keiichi-kun.
かるよ。
catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Reina smiled even more brightly.
わかるって何がだ
You know what?
みーちゃんって不思議でし
Chan is mysterious, right?
ょ。女の子なんだけど。
She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy.
That's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Reina said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender.
あいつが男だったら
If she were a guy,
人を意気投
it'd
合
probably
す
be
るだろ
like
う
two
な。
peas in a pod.
で、それは今と同じか。
Although that's the same way as it is right now.
でもね、
But you see,
そんなみーちゃんも
even that
本
Mii-chan
当はすっごく女の
is
子らし
actually
いんだ
really
よ。
feminine.
レナ、
Reina,
お前ミオンにいくら
how
もら
much
った
did
んだよ
Mion pay you exactly?
違う
That's not true.
もう
Jeez,
ちゃんと
I'm
した
trying to have a
話を
serious
してるんだよ。
conversation, you know? You know?
Reina began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around.
みーちゃんは部活の部
Mii
長
Chan's
さん
the
だか
club
ら
president, so
みん
she's
なの
trying
リー
hard
ダ
to
ーとして
lead
頑張って
everybody.
るけど本当はとっても
But
可
she's
愛
really
い
a
女の
very
子なん
cute
だよ。
girl.
それ特に
I really
ケイチ
don't
君
want
に
you
は
to forget that,
忘れて
Keiichi-kun.
ほしくないな。
Reina's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job. It was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly?
多分ケイチ君には想像つか
Keiichi-kun
ない
probably
と
couldn't
思う
even
な。
begin to
思うな。
imagine. Begin to imagine.
As if to say it was our little secret, Reina held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide their embarrassment.
チェ、
Uh,
おじさんはね、
This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for-
思ってんだよ。
Thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study for life.
saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I wanted to talk to her again. Thank God the freedom bell rings. We can all bail for the day. Principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
わあ今日は宿題が結
Looks
構
like
出
there's
そう
gonna
だ
be
ね
a lot of homework
頑張ら
today.
ないと
Gotta buckle down.
じゃあさ、
Well then,
レナもってことか。
I mean, even Reina?
何がかな
What do you mean?
人は見かけによらないって話。
Appearances can be deceiving.
レナもってことにな
Will
る
that
のか。
apply to you too? Oh, Keiichi, don't open that can of worms yet.
えケイチくんには
Keiichi-kun,
レナのこと
how do you see me?
どう見えるかな
How?
かな
How?
Be very careful about how you answer this next question, Keiichi. The Reina Ryukyu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but generally was a kind and gentle, ideal girl.
本当に本当に
I hate the fact that you know what I'm thinking.
Really? Really?
だったら
That makes me happy, I guess.
If she was the opposite of what it would seem, that would make her...
逆なのだとしたら
And if you were really the opposite? Just trying to say it, I won't be mad. That's... Oh, no, wait, I read that wrong. Just try saying it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant.
レナは
Reina is...
うんレナは
Reina is...
逆になってもレナだよ
Even if you were the opposite, you'd still be Reina, right? This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but... Even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
ずるいなケイ
That's
チ
not
くん
fair, Keiichi-kun.
そんな言い方されちゃ
It
ったら
bothers
気
me
に
when
な
you
っち
say
ゃ
it
う
that
よ
way.
Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Reina's face began to burn red with embarrassment.
レナ
Reina!
ケイちゃん
Kei-chan!
帰ろ帰ろ
Let's go home!
Leon walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around in my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing.
どうしたのケイちゃん
What's the matter, Kei-chan?
いつも持ってるはずのうちの鍵がないんだよ
The key to my house I always carry around is gone.
参ったな
Man,
どこ
where
にや
did
っちゃ
I
ったかな
lose it?
親はいるから今日はいい
It's
けど
fine today since my parents are home, but still, this is bad.
それは困るね
That sure is troublesome.
忘れてきたの
Did you forget it somewhere?
それとも落としちゃ
Or
った
did
の
you
か
drop
な
it?
Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh? Huh?
ケイちゃんその鍵の特徴は
Kei-chan, did the key have anything that would make it stand out?
うんキーホルダーが
Yeah,
ついてる
it's on a keychain.
昔夏休みの宿題で
It
作
was
ら
a
されたや
blue
つ
fur seal,
Oh,
something I
you're
made
okay
from
now.
something I made for summer homework a long time ago.
あれ
Huh?
目をつぶった感じ
Does
で
it have his eyes
お
shut
昼
like
寝
it's
してる
taking
みた
a
いなや
nap?
つ
な
Oh,
んで知ってるんだ
how
よ
did you know?
そうそうそう
Yeah,
だよ
yeah, that's it. Mion looked away and began to whistle.
さ
See?
おとといケイちゃんエンジェルモ
You
ード
went
に
for dinner at
食事
Angel
に行っ
Mart
た
a
でしょ
couple days ago, right?
その晩さお
That
店
night
で
the
鍵
staff
の
found
落
a
とし
key.
物があったんだよそれにオットセイのキーホルダー
And
が
there
つ
was
い
a
て
first
た
seal keychain attached to it.
As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and then added that Shion had told her about it.
あ
Huh?
あの時に落としちゃった
So
の
I
か
dropped it then?
でも見つかってよか
Aren't
った
you
ね
glad that they found it?
お店がきっと預
I'm
か
sure
って
they're
くれてる
looking
よ
after it for you.
そうだね
That's right.
行ってみなよ
Why don't you go?
シオンの顔私と
Shion
同
looks
じ
the
だから
same
わ
as
かるで
me,
しょ
so you'll know her by sight.
This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion, as I smacked my knee on my desk. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with the other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like this.
そうだな
Right.
エンジェルモートだっけ？
Angel Mort, was
シ
it?
オンの店に行って鍵を
I'll
返
head
しても
over
らっ
to
て
Shion's restaurant and get my key back.
ついでにお茶でも飲んで優雅に過ごす
While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. You laugh, but you're concerned on the inside, aren't you, Mion?
なんだか英国紳士
You
みたい
sound
だ
like an English gentleman.
ケイちゃんには
That
似合わない
totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan.
No, but being an Angel Mort means I'm a perv by default, and that perfectly sums me up.
ひょっとしてそのお
Is
店
this
か
the restaurant?
な。みーちゃんの妹の
What
働
my
い
Jen's
てる
little
お店
sister's
は
working at?
あ、なん
Yeah.
かレナも
How do we
一緒
go
に行った
together, Raina?
ちょっと残念だけど
Sorry to disappoint you, but I have plans with my father tonight.
またの機会にす
Some
るね
other time.
Raina seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity.
双子だそうだけどそんなにそっ
You
くり
say
な
they're
のかな
twins, but do they really look that much alike?
間違えるくらい
Enough to mistake which is which?
ああ、そっくりだ。
Yeah, they're totally the same.
外見だけは
At least on the outside.
中身はミオンと違って
Unlike
おしとやか
Mion,
で
she's well mannered and
可愛
really
らしい
cute
の
though.
にな。
In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. I was about to compliment the music and then it changed, but hey ho, we're here now. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion. A name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. We're assuming she's working there tonight, right? What Raina said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side. These feelings mixed together. How is Shion for you? Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded before me. I was almost at the station. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with my dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meeting Shion and getting my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would fire me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi, my bara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning toward a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, just for a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. Why would you do that, though, you twat? I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. But why would you do that? The bike did nothing wrong, and now you're gonna be in shit. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Yeah, you should run. You should run real fucking quickly. As the three bikes toppled one after another like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses.
やば。
Ah, shit. Oh, God. Yeah, I knew this was not going to end well. The hell you think you're doing? The owners of the 3 bikes were right there. They looked exactly like what you'd call thugs up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I'd never heard before. The 3 of them beelining me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapped noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I'd realized it, I'd been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Don't be playing dumb! You knocked him over, didn't you? Hold on. I think I can channel a better voice from somewhere. And that somewhere comes from the Warhammer player within me. Don't be playing dumb. You knocked him over, didn't you? Huh? We's orcs and we like to fight, you see. I just said it came from a place of Warhammer. The 3 folks were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, as orcs tend to do. But the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away. My legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry, I accidentally... Accident my ass! You kicked it, didn't you, dumbass? It's really fun to do, I'm not gonna lie. I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. To hell, man! The paint's all scuffed. Yo, brat. We'll put you up to this, eh? This is your goddamn fault. The 3 of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them was saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smack it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. Then they slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. I mean, this is how we got in this situation, and vandalism solves nothing. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you saw often on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such frail concepts as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by 3 hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something! I'll fucking stab you! This voice was strangely appropriate. Angrily yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body when suddenly a metallic taste filled through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and gripped my teeth.
やかましいよクソボケどもが。
You know what I mean? You're not what I expected, but the help is approved, Shion.
You're making quite the racket, you stupid pieces of trash.
私の目の黒いうち
Get out of
に
my
うせな。
sight.
The voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the three thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck do you say? Standing there was Shion. I mean, Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them. The eyes of a raptor. How many raptors you seen, Keiichi? They were the epitome of terror. And at the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world.
もう一度だけ言うよ。
I'll only say this one more time.
ケイちゃん話してとっ
Let
と
go
と
of
うせな。
Kei-chan and get lost.
Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work.
ミオン
Mion, it's dangerous. It's a I knew what I was saying was pathetic. But I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on the way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mion, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them, at some point, 4 more people of differing clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school. A man wearing a bakery apron. An old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more, people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces. Some of our classmates. Then, these people were residents of Hinamizawa? More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to about 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural, and it began, depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Alright. What's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared inside the second vehicle.
おまわりさん、いいところに来まし
Officer,
た。
good timing.
恐喝の現行犯です。
There you go, the extortionists, caught red-handed.
捕まえてください。
Please arrest them.
The fuck? This Breath of Water's done wrong here. Mion returned to her usual self while nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course, the thugs were furious. But now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay, okay. Come over here for a sec. Come on already! The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. The fuck? Let me go! We're the victims here! You're listening, damn it! No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Why are you here, of all times? I was not prepared. You alright? Are you injured? He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face.
いえ、別に。
No, not really. That's a bit of a silver lining then. Oh then, have a good year. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your effort, we were able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing. I mean, that doesn't sound like the laugh he was running, but yeah.
お仕事ご苦労様です。大石刑
Thank you
事
for your
殿。
hard work, Detective Oishi.
住民を代表して
As a
日頃
citizen,
の
I
公務
thank you
に
for your
感謝いた
daily
します
efforts.
一課の刑事がわざわ
It's
ざ
an honor
こん
for a
なところ
detective
まで
from
お
the
いで
first
くださ
division
る
to
と
come
は
out all this way.
光栄の極みです。
The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour.
お仕事頑張ってください。
Please keep up the good work.
今後のご活
I
躍を
pray for success
切
in your
に
future
祈っております
endeavors.
Ah, shucks.
Good
Good thing there were no injuries, though.
大石さ
Oishi-san!
ん OK っす
We're done here!
行きましょう
Get the fuck out of here!
ではでは
Well then, have a good year.
失礼
Sorry,
一応
could
開
you
けて
make
もらえ
way?
ますかな
The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over back to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly, I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply.
おっしゃ一丁上がりだね
Alright, that's a wrap.
おととい来やが
Don't
っての
come back.
That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant and everyone began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up.
大丈夫かい
You alright, young Maibara?
今度からは喧嘩は
Next time, pick your fights a bit better.
別に
It's not like I wanted to fight.
怪我とかしてない
You hurt anywhere?
頭とかぶつけてるならレン
If
ト
you,
ゲンを取っておいた方がいい
if
わ
you
よ
hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an x-ray taken.
I'm not bleeding, I think I'm fine. An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury.
たまたま駅前で
You were lucky this happened right in front of the station where it was busy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people.
次からは気を
Next
つ
time,
け
be
るんだ
more
よ
careful.
最近の街も
City kids
物騒
these
なん
days
だ
are
から
pretty unruly.
まったく
Honestly.
I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me.
いやいや
Well,
Kei-chan
well,
もや
you're
るじゃ
doing
ない
pretty good, my Kei-chan.
でも私も
But
相
I
手
also
を選
think
ん
you
だ
should
方
be
がい
more
いと思
careful
いま
about
す
who
け
you
ど
pick
ね
fight with.
サンキューな。
Thanks, Mion.
助かったよ。
You saved my bacon there.
だから私シオン
Like I said, I'm Shield.
She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment.
お姉に聞いてますよ
I heard from my sister.
オットセイの鍵
That first little
Are they
keychain was
Kei-chan
yours,
のです
Kei-chan.
あ、
Oh, yeah, that's
そうだっ
right.
た。これからお店に行こうと
I
し
was
てた
just
んだ
heading to the restaurant.
それで浮かれててあんな変なのに絡
And you
まれ
ended
ちゃ
up
ってたん
feeling
です
so
か
excited that you got mixed up in something weird.
Now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit it, but she was spot on.
まあ、その、
Well, I was just unlucky.
でも、シオンの
You
おかげ
really
で
saved me,
助かっ
Shion.
お礼はいらないです
You
よ
don't have to thank me.
だからケイちゃ
So
ん
if
も
you see someone else
他
getting
の人が
bullied,
いじめ
help
られ
them
てる
out,
のを見つ
okay?
けたら私たち
We
そういう
value
のを
that
と
kind of
て
thing
も
very
大切
highly
にするから
here.
I was well versed in the sense of camaraderie. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree.
お店来ますよね
You're coming to the restaurant, right?
疲れちゃっただろうから
You must be
一服
tired, so
し
why
ま
don't
せ
you
ん
relax for a bit?
おごりますよ
My treat.
Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. Is it that obvious that I am a rampant perv on the side? I guess it must be pretty obvious. The girls in club seem to think it's all written all over my face, so... After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I'd been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee.
はいこれ
Here
お
you
ごりの
go.
アイスコーヒー
Iced coffee on the house.
レジでこのチケット渡せ
Just
ば
bring
無
this
料にな
coupon
り
with
ま
you
す
to
か
the
らね
register and it'll be no charge.
My patheticness really knows no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Look, Keiichi, rule 1. Never turn down a freebie. You'll go far in life with that advice, I feel. Maybe Japanese people are just too, like, polite for that, but someone's like, yo, it's on me, do you want one? Fuck yes, I will. I take what I can get, okay? Even though it had started out on such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I completely ruined it.
でも本当にさ、さっ
But
きのは
really,
助かったよ。
you saved my hide there.
シオンが本当に頼も
I've
しく
really
見え
come
た
to see you as reliable.
私だって怖かったです
Even I
よ
was scared.
でも
But
他なら
Kei-chan's
ぬ
in
ケイちゃん
trouble,
のピンチ
so
だし勇気出して頑張りましたって
I
こ
had
と
to be
です
brave and do my best.
While a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly.
シオン、本当にありがとうな。
Really. Thank you. I was thanking Shion. But I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really. Thank you.
ほらほらもう元気出して
Now,
く
now,
ださい
cheer
よ
up a little.
もしも恩義を感
If
じ
you
る
feel
なら
indebted, then when you
今
have
度
the
は
chance,
ケ
you
イ
should
ち
help
ゃん
somebody in
が他の
need.
誰かのために戦ってくださいね例えば
Like, for example,
Watashi
if
ga
I'm
pinch
ever in
in nattara.
trouble,
きっと助けに来てくださ
please
いよ
come and save me.
あ、もちろんだ。
Yeah, of course.
約束する。
It's a promise.
絶対ですからね
You absolutely have to.
Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise.
ピンチになったらケイち
So
ゃん
if
が
I'm
助け
ever
に
in
来てくれる
trouble,
のか
Kei-chan will come and save me.
早くピンチに
I
な
hope
らない
trouble
か
comes soon.
な。やっと
Ah,
笑
you
ってく
finally
れた。
smiled.
She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek.
元気のないケイちゃんなんて
A downtrodden K-chan is as good as an imposter.
And there's an imposter among us! Because I'm going to be the one that gets soft. It's like reverse Among Us now that I think about it. The group shank the one that's the different one.
ほら笑って
Come on, smile, smile.
That tickles!
やめ
Stop it! Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little. Apart from one because of the outfit she's wearing.
元気出たらお腹とか空いてこないです
When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry?
私お腹空いちゃい
I'm
ましたか
kinda
らホッ
hungry,
ト
so
ケ
I'll
ー
eat
キとか
some
食べたいんで
pancakes
す
or
けど
something.
ケイちゃんも食べま
Want
す
some too, K-chan?
I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint isn't really my thing. That's why I replied without any.
うまいんだろうな
They're good, right?
俺ホット
Pretty
ケー
picky
キ
when
は
it
かなり
comes to
うるさいね
pancakes.
安心してくださ
Don't worry.
いうちのホ
Our
ットケー
pancakes
キ
have
は
a
か
pretty
な
good
り評判いい
reputation.
ですから
Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird.
おいおいそういえばシオン
Hey,
今バイト
speaking
中
of
じゃない
that,
のか
when you're in the middle of a
俺
shift,
とずっと話をし
just
て
been
油
slacking
を
off
売っ
while
てたらいい
talking
の
to
かよ
me.
おじさんにね私が
I
不良
told
に
my
絡
uncle
まれ
that
て
you
ると
saved
こ
me
ろ
while
を
I was
ケイちゃ
surrounded
ん
by
が助けて
hoodlums,
くれ
so
たって
he's
言うから
rewarding you.
ねぎらだから店長
So
こう
I have the
いうことで
manager's
す
permission.
それ事実と正反対
That's
だろ
exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright?
全然いいのです
It's perfectly fine.
By the time the pancakes arrived, we'd entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat. How I was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, local cults. Really, nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different?
ケイちゃんってお姉のことを女だと
K-chan,
思って
you
ないで
don't
しょ
think of my sister as a girl, do you?
そんなことはないよ
That's not true.
男だったら
If
容
she
赦
were a
なく
guy, I'd
口倒
punch
し
the
てる
living daylights out of her.
ケイちゃんとお姉が仲がいいのって
I
そうい
think
う
you
ノン
guys
セクシャ
get.
ルな関
I
係に
think
あ
the
ると
reason that
思
you
うんで
guys
す
get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship.
それってなかなかで
That's
きない
pretty rare and
羨ましい
enviable
関係
thing
で
to
すよ
have, don't you think?
言ってる意味がよくわかんない
I
な
don't get what you're saying.
まあ確かに
It
女に
really
一
would be
人
a
は
waste to
もっ
treat
たい
her
ない
like a
やつだ
girl.
よ
あケイ
Hey,
ちゃん
K-chan,
それ
that's
男女差別で
sexist.
すよ
Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced about Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations, and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I'd met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. This I've no doubt. Then what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't been even 3 days since we met. Though Shion was the older one, or am I making that up again and being stupid? The relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I'd stopped listening to Shion.
例えばですよ
Hypothetically, okay? Are you listening?
なあごめん
Sorry.
聞いてるよ。
Yeah, I'm listening.
例えばですよ
This is just a hypothetical question, okay?
私とお姉が共にピンチで
Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay?
崖にぶら下がってると
We're
します。
dangling off the side of a cliff.
I don't like this foreshadowing.
ケイちゃんはどっちを助けま
Which
す
one of us do you save?
どっちか一人
You
だ
can
け
only
ですよ。
save one.
She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice.
嫌な問題だな。
That's not a nice question.
どっちも助けたいけど。
I want to save you both,
それじゃダメ
but
な
I
んだ
can't
よ。
do that, right?
ダメです。
Right.
シオンか
You
ミ
can
オンの
only
どっちか
save
だ
either
けです
Shion or Mion.
どっちですか
Who do you save?
If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. What about the normal, frail Shion? I think she is neither of those things, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I guess I'd have no choice.
お姉じゃないですよね。
It's not my sister, right?
If Mion and Shion were different purple, I suppose different purple? Different people. Could be purple, I don't fucking know. That would make them different people. If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine.
つまり、そういうことなんですよ。
In other words, that's it, isn't it?
お姉はそのつまり、
My sister is...
あれ
Huh.
すみません。
Sorry, I messed
な
up
ん
what I
か
was
自
trying
分
to
で言って
say.
て破綻しちゃいました。
Shion was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt that there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put her finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around.
それよりも
More importantly, just now,
驚きましたか
were you surprised?
そりゃ驚いたよ
Of。course I was!
レナやサトコ
For
が
Reina or
駆けつけてくれるなら
Sadako, that would have been one thing.
あんなに老若男
But
女が
for all those
いろいろと
people,
集まってく
young
る
and
んだ
old
からね
together.
あれ全部ひなみ
They
沢
were
の
all
人
from
なんだよ
Hinamizuo, right?
ええ、そうです。
Yeah, that's right.
ひなみ沢の人は
Everybody in
みんな
Hinamizuo
結
is
束してる
pretty
んですよ
close-knit.
一人の敵は
An
全
enemy
員
of
の
one is an enemy of all.
日和見なんか誰もしません。
Nobody's gonna look on from the sidelines.
結構頼もしい
They're
住
a
民
pretty
性なんで
reliable
すよ。
group of residents.
誰かがいじめられたらみんなで
Somebody's
結
been
束して
picked
やっ
on,
つ
then
けるわ
everyone
けだ
unites to get rid of the bully.
なんだか
Kinda sounds like the
マフィアみたいな
Mafia or
結束
the
だな
Yakuza's brand of unity.
そんなこと言っちゃダメですよ
You。shouldn't say something like that.
とてもありがたいことなん
Something
で
you
す
should
から
be thankful for.
Yep, that sounds even more like Mafia or Yakuza speak.
ケイちゃんもそれに助けられたん
You
で
were
すよ。
saved by that unity, weren't you?
感謝の気持ちを忘れ
Never
ない
forget to
よ
show
うに
your。appreciation.
I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well that I should be appreciative.
ひなみ沢の人たちって本当に仲が良くて
Everybody in Hinamizu is really close-knit, aren't they?
昔からの伝統かな。
Maybe it's because of tradition.
ひなみ沢って昔からいろいろ
Hinamizu has
と
been
敗
in
戦
danger
の
of
危機
becoming
に
a
あるんで
ghost
すよ
town
ね
on。several occasions.
その度に結束して戦って、
There's been a history of
存続を勝ち
villages
取ってきた
uniting
ってい
together
う歴史
each
がある
time
ん
to
ですよ。
fight for the village's continued existence.
例えば、ケイちゃ
For
ん、
example,
ひなみ沢ダム計画って知って
Kei-chan,
ま
did
す
you know about the Hinamizawa Dam project?
You are the first person who would actively talk to me about it. This is a step in the right direction. Hinamizuwa Dam Project? Let's see. I feel like I've heard someone talk about it before.
10年くらい前にね、突然こ
About
こに
10
ダ
years
ム
ago,
が
there
で
was a
きて、
sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa in the water.
あそんな話
Well, that
親
story.
父かなんかに
I
聞いた
think
こと
I
が
heard my
あるよ
dad
な
talk about that.
でもそれって
But I'm pretty sure the plan was cancelled, right?
中止にさせたんで
We
すよ
made them cancel it. We got together and we murdered the site foreman.
I'm sorry, what?
You shouldn't know that, but it doesn't matter at this point.
みんなで団結して。
Everybody banded together.
だからこれは
So
戦って
that
勝
was
ち
a
取っ
well-earned
た勝利
victory.
なんです。
Sounded pretty much like the story I heard. You know, minus the murder. The protest intensified to the point where it was featured in the newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended.
ダムの話そのものは私
The
が
whole
生まれる
story
前
with the
からあっ
dam
たらしいん
apparently
です。
started before I was born.
最初は
At
候補
first,
地
the
調査と
proposal was
か
only
砂防の
for
ための小さいダ
exploratory
ムとか
purposes, or a
そ
small
んな
dam
程
to
度の
control
話
the
だったん
erosion.
ですよ。
But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. Previous landowners sued the government, stating there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and transaction that should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project.
土地の買収なんていうお金の
It
問
was all
題
very
が一番
precious
可
when
愛
the
かっ
land
たんです
acquisition was still about money.
そのうち土地の強制収用を
Eventually,
ち
they
らつかせ
started
るように
relying
な
on
りま
eminent
したね
domain in order to seize land.
その頃からです。
It started at that point.
機動隊とかの暴力
The
行為
riot
が目立
police
ち始
began
め
to
たの
get violent.
機動隊って
Riot
警
police?
察だろ
You mean the police?
暴力行為なんて
Why would they
そん
act
なの
violent? Hey, look, Katie. I was about to say this is some times we live in, and then I realized this is set in 1984. Yeah, there were still violence and riots around then.
殴りますよ
They punched.
蹴ります
They
よ
kicked.
私も殴られたこ
It
と
was
あ
the
り
time I
ますし
was hit.
この辺だったか
Right
な
around here, I think.
皮が切れちゃったみたいで
My
血
skin
が
split
すごい
open
出
and
ま
a
し
whole lot
た
of blood spilled out.
Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it.
警察とかに
What happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kinda strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties.
うちのバッチャ劣化のごとく怒
My
り
nana
狂い
went
ま
off
した
like
ね
a firework.
それからがすごかっ
After that, it was amazing.
たもう全面
Like
戦
a
争です
full-scale
よ
war.
こっちも座り込みで
We
訴
weren't
え
just
るなん
gonna
て
sit by and
生っちょろ
idly
いことな
file
んかしません
complaints. We killed a guy, Keiichi!
ガンガン攻めました
We went on the offensive.
First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project, and demanded his resignation, though. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to surpass the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago.
私たちにできることなら何でもしまし
We
た
did everything we could.
村全部が
Entire
一丸
village
になっ
banded
て
together
戦
and
ったんで
fought.
すあの時は必死だったけ
At
ど
that time, we were desperate.
終わった今となって
But now
は
it's
いい思
now
い出
it's
か
all
な
over. It's actually become a pretty good memory.
村人たちの連帯感や団結
The
心は
village's feelings of solidarity and unity still haven't faded.
Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride.
そういう連帯感っていいよな
That kind of solidarity is pretty nice.
なかなかないことだよ
You don't see it too often.
世代を超えて
Bridging the generation gap and unifying the region.
私もそう思いま
I
す
think so too.
ダム計画は
The
試
dam
練だった
project
け
was a
ど
trial.
それを乗り越えて得
I
たもの
think
は
just the fact that we were able to overcome it is huge.
The fear I was feeling until now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought of it was frightening. But now from the bottom of my heart, I felt that I'd been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I'd been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share that sense of solidarity.
ケイちゃんは反対運動の時、ひなみ沢にいなか
Kei-chan,
ったか
you
ら
weren't here at the time, so I
村人たち
don't
の
think
連
you
帯
can
感を
fully
実
feel
感
the
できないかもし
solidarity
れ
in
な
the
いけど、
village.
みんなにはあるの。
But everybody shares it.
しっかりと。
Thoroughly.
それはたとえ引っ
If
越
I'm
して
with
きたばか
somebody
り
who
のケイ
just
ちゃん
moved
に
here
対
like
して
you,
もね。
Kei-chan.
She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me when I just moved here. Even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought all of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings. They gradually welled up inside me.
園崎さん、
Sonozaki-san!
店長がホール入って
The
ほしい
manager
そう
wants
です
you to work the floor.
A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work.
はい、
Ah, okay.
今入りま
I'm
す。
coming.
すみません。
Sorry.
もう仕事しない
Looks
と
like I have to
まず
get
い
to
み
work
たいで
now.
す。
いいよいいよ
It's fine.
付き合ってくれてありがとうな
Thanks for hanging out with me.
楽しかったよ
It was fun.
帰っちゃいます？
Are you going home?
まあな
Yeah.
飯の時間には
My
戻ら
mom
ない
gets
と
fussy if I'm
お風呂
not
がう
home
るさ
by
いし
dinner time. It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough. That kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little while longer when Shion got up from her seat.
はいこれ。
Here.
このチケットで払えばホットケーキ代も大丈
If
夫
you
で
use
すから
this coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well.
Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me.
便利でしょ。
Convenient, isn't it?
お給料の他にもらえ
It's
る
a
ボー
perk
ナ
I
スチケ
get
ッ
on
ト
top
な
of
ん
my
ですよ。
salary.
いいよ
It's okay.
ホットケーキ
I
代
can
くら
pay
い
for the
払えよ
pancakes myself.
おやおや。
Hey, hey!
遠慮するなんてケイちゃんらしく
Being
ない
so
ですよ。
receptive doesn't fit you, Kei-chan.
私がお姉だったら喜んでおご
If
ら
I
れ
were
る
my
くせ
sister,
に。
you would have gladly let me pay for it.
She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me.
園崎さん、すみません。
Sonozaki-san!
レジ入ってください。
Sorry, but could you take care of the register?
はい。
Ah, yeah, right away.
Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me.
あミオン
Oh, Mion!
今日は本当にありがとうな
Thanks a lot for today. I owe you one.
そう思うならきっと返してください
If。you really think that, return the favor.
楽しみにしてますから
I'm。looking forward to it.
After I said that, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time where I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to various... Yeah, let me try that again. It might seem like a waste of time at a first glance, but you could say it was an important time where I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. Hey, look, dude, I have manga for that. After dinner was valuable time well spent with the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients.
バカバカ、東京タワーの方が高いに
You
決まってる
idiot! It's
だろ。
obvious that Tokyo Tower is taller. Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of my television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. But if I were actually on stage, I'd probably fail miserably. Keiichi!
園崎さんから電話
Phone call from Sonozaki-san!
はいよ。
Okay.
園崎？
Sonozaki?
ミオンか。
That's Mion! It was a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. She was probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we're talking about. She might even go so far as to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m.
もしもし。
Hello?
今から部活の野戦ってのは。
No way we're having a club battle right now.
じゃなくて、その
That's not it. I mean... It was Mion, but it was a very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be...
ごめん。
Sorry.
ひょっとしてミオンじゃなくて。
Could it be that
Shion
you're not Mion, but Shion?
そうです。
That's right.
どうもこんばんは。
Good evening.
夜分遅くにすみま
I'm
せん。
sorry for calling so late. For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. With a dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious feeling.
いや別にいいよ。
No, it's fine.
それより何の
What's
用
up?
だい？
ケイちゃんはケーキとかデザ
Kei-chan,
ートとか
do you like
甘いも
sweets
のは好
or
きです
like
か？
cakes or desserts? But that was no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton.
ならよかったです。
That's great.
実はですね
Actually,、
夏
there's a
の
new
新
dessert
デザー
contest
ト
this
コンテス
summer.
トってのがありまして、
Looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts.
エンジェルモートのデザートはかなり
The
評判い
desserts
い
in
んです
Angel
よ。
Mode have a good reputation.
モニターの募集
It's
も
pretty
かな
difficult,
り倍
pretty
率
difficult
高
to
いん
get
です
accepted as a taste tester.
それで担当直入な話
I'll get right to the point.
じゃーん
Ta-da! You make it sound like I can see.
じゃーんと言われても。
You say
見えない
ta-da,
からわから
but
な
I
いけど。
can't see over the
ひょっ
phone.
として。
Still, could it be?
そうです。
That's right.
そのモニター
I have a
チ
taste
ケット
testing
がここにあ
ticket
る
right
そうです。
here.
もしも甘い
If
も
you
の
don't
が
mind
嫌い
sweets,
じゃ
how
ない
about it?
いか
いかがですかって。つまり
When you
なんだ
say how about it, you basically
そ
mean
のチケットで俺が新
with
デザー
that
トを
ticket I
作
could
り
eat
放
all
題
the new desserts I
そういうわ
want?
けなのか？
They say beware of honeypots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. Oh, you can eat free dessert? No way.
OK ならモニター当選者の
If
末
you're
番
okay
に
with
名
that,
前
I'll
を書いて
register you
お
as a
きます
taste
ね。
tester.
明日お店に来たら
When you come to the restaurant tomorrow, just give the person in charge your name,
それで万事 OK
and
です。
everything will work out.
万事 OK って
When you say everything will work out,
食べ放題
you
なのか？
mean all you can eat
無料なのか？
for free.
ええ、無料です。
Yeah, it's free.
結構あります
That's
から。
quite a bit, so I
お
recommend
腹
you
を
come
空かせて
hungry.
くることをお勧めします。
This is such a delectable opportunity, it was almost scary. This really was Shion, right? Wasn't Mion posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same person.
はいはい。
Yeah.
ケイちゃんの考
I
え
know
てること
exactly
は
what
分か
you're
ってま
thinking,
すよ。
Kei-chan.
こんな美味しい話
You're
が
thinking
あ
this
る
is
わけ
too
な
good
い
to
っ
be
て
true,
思ってる
right?
でしょ。
In some slightly crueler words, but yes.
ギク。いやそんなことは。
I mean, I would never.
お姉から聞いてますけど。
I heard from my sister, but you're really somebody who can't tell a lie.
私、
I'm not averse to somebody like that. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh.
下心ってわけじゃないんで
It's
すけ
not
ど。
like I was intending on it,
実は私、
but it just so happens my
明日
shift
はちょっ
ends
とバイトしたら
early
すぐに終
tomorrow.
わりなんです。もしもご迷惑じゃ
If
な
it's
か
not
っ
a
た
bother,
ら、
I thought we might be able to spend a
そ
little
の
time
後
together
ちょっ
after I
とご
was
一緒し
done.
てもらってもいいかな。
Oh, good,
と思いまし
you're gonna tell me more about the dam. Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
へえ、明日のバイトはすぐ終わっちゃうんだ。
Your shift ends early tomorrow.
はい
Yeah.
だからケイちゃんがデザート食べな
Sorry,
が
I'm
ら
trying to
のんび
open
りしてるうちに終わっちゃう
my drink.
So while you're taking time eating dessert, I'll finish up.
まあ、俺も特に用事はないし
Well, I don't have any plans anyway.
多少付き
I
合う
don't
くら
mind
いな
hanging
ら
out with you for a bit.
別にどこかに行くわけでも
It's
な
not
い
like we have to go anywhere.
夕涼みしながらお
I was
散歩で
thinking
も
we
できたら
could
な
cool
っ
off
て
in
思
the
ってるだ
evening
け
while
ですか
taking
ら
a walk.
There was no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on the offer.
そういえばケイちゃんと私って
By the way,
なんだか毎日会ってますよ
Kei-chan,
ね
you and I have been meeting up every day, haven't we?
言われてみればそうだな。
Now that you say it, I guess we have.
でも OK してもらえたおかげで
Since you
ま
said
た
okay,
明日
we
も
have
会
an
える口
excuse
実
to
を
meet
作
again
ることが
tomorrow.
できました
Huh? What was Mion saying?
ケイちゃんなんだか声が裏返って
Kei-chan,
ま
your
す
voice just cracked.
どうしたんでしょうね
What's the matter?
It wasn't a video phone, but she couldn't tell I was beet red.
じゃあ明日きっと来てくだ
Well
さい
then,
ね
you should definitely come tomorrow.
それじゃあこれで失礼しま
I'll
す
take my leave
お
here.
やすみなさい
Good night.
あ、おやすみ。
Good night. Shion finished with what she had called to say, ended the conversation without any chit chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went upstairs and returned to my room.
俺、シオンに世話になってばかりだよな。
I've only been receiving favors from Shion, haven't I? She brought me a bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Coming to think of it, she'd probably just say she'll pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow, I'll have to repay her somehow. Yeah, I'm still not convinced that they aren't. I should start that sentence a different way because, like, the way I phrase it sets me up for too many double negatives. I guess what I'm trying to say is I am convinced that Shion and Mion are not the same person. Their personalities are too different. That's just opinion me, though. Anyway, we've come to this screen, which means that it's time for me to end the video. Might be a long one, but hey ho, it's been a while, so you can have a long episode of Higurashi. Anyway, thank you all for watching this episode of Higurashi. As I've said like 3 times now. Redundancy, it's good. I'm shaking my head, you can't see that. But yeah, if you like the video in any capacity, please feel free to give the video a like down below. Leave a comment on whatever you feel like at this point. And if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post videos, be they of this, Amori, or anything else that's in the pipeline, I've only, for some reason the Steam achievement popped up like there. But yeah, if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post anything, feel free to subscribe to the channel. In theory, YouTube sends you alerts as to when I post videos, but we all know that's a fucking lie. Oh, God. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Nyx, and I'll see you on the next one. Laters!